Today I'm going to introduce you to the books that I've written. My friend pointed out to me that I should share these with you because we're in lockdown and you can spend time reading books right now. So it's a good time for me to tell you what books I've written. My first book that was published by King England's Press is The Girl Who Ruled the World. I wrote this when I was 28 and I just started writing. So it's stream of consciousness, and I started writing down what I thought initially were ideas. And then I realised that actually that's the way I write. I write in lots of kind of almost a bit like, I guess, Facebook profile updates. But what it was, I started writing it just before I kind of joined Facebook. So my brain was already working a bit like that prior to the social media generation. And it's quite autobiographical, but not autobiographical. I definitely haven't killed an ex-boyfriend and chopped up his body, but I did want to explore whether I felt I could chop up a body if I ever needed to. So that was why I wrote about it. So there's a lot of similarity between me and the character Esmeralda, and the book's written from her turning 28 to being 29, which is called Your Saturn Returns. And that's the idea that Saturn returns to your birth chart every 28 to 29, between 27, 28, 29 years, it returns to your birth chart. And Saturn is the like hard taskmaster. It's the like your real karma. Like, what's the big thing that you're here to learn? Like, what's my big lesson that I'm here to learn? I know what mine is. I've figured it out, and it's to be the silent healer, which I'm not very silent, but it's about my judgment is that I'm not good enough. It's about learning to be okay with that and forgive myself for feeling like that it's okay that I feel like that. I'm not going to like magic it away, that it doesn't matter that I feel that way. It does matter, but it's not real. And that if I do something for someone and it's an act of kindness and in a way is a healing act and they don't thank me, that's okay. And it's taken me a long time to get there, but I am learning it. I mean, I'm pretty sure I get tripped up. I do get tripped up, but I think I've recently allowed that to be okay, that people don't have to say thank you, and that whenever it happens, whenever I don't get acknowledgement for something I've done in myself, I just go, that's part of your silent healing practice, and I let that be. And it feels really nice when I feel that, because I feel like I'm getting acknowledgement from a higher plane, and it's a more significant acknowledgement. So hopefully I'm developing almost a desire to receive that rather than actual physical thanks. And it captures how a 28, 29-year-old is facing a world that's gone a bit mad. And it was written in 2006. And so it's quite retro in a, 2006 wasn't that long ago, but it feels quite retro. It feels like a slightly more innocent time. And it's just interesting to capture that moment in time. Saddam Hussein was being hung. It was just the end of the Gulf War. The internet and Facebook were only just becoming a thing. They're not really a thing. So it's quite a different world. And this was the first book in what then became a series. So I decided to write a book every 7 years. I'm a Capricorn, and Capricorn's ruled by Saturn. So I get the 28-year cycle, but I also am affected by the 7-year quarters. So it just seems like my life fits into 7-year quarters. Like a big thing happened on each 7, 14, 21, 28. They are the moments where kind of the big hard things happened in my life. I was 7 when I kind of realised that I'd been abused as a child. I was 14 when my parents started to split up. And I was 21 when I had an abortion and finished university. And then 28 is this one, and this just ends up being quite a mad year. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You'll have to read it to see what happens. And then the next 7 year was 35. So this is Never Worn. This was my second book, also published by King England's Press. And this captures me, the year that I had when I was 35, which is based on the true story of me doing the final rounds of IVF with my husband and it not working. So we ended up not having children, and also we were working in a call centre at this point as well. So it was about the idea that like life hadn't turned out how we thought it would, and it's quite an interesting antidote to The Girl Who Ruled the World, because The Girl Who Ruled the World is like, yeah, I'm 28 and I think I'm going to take over the world and become a famous actress and all of that kind of jazz. And then at 35, I'm like, that didn't happen. So what's plan A was famous actress, that hasn't happened. Plan B is having kids. And so this is about what is plan C. Like, I feel suicidal, plan C is a big part of that. But actually it's the fool's journey in the end. So when you let go of planning and let the universe take control, then sometimes when you fall, you fly. And I let myself fall, and life has been utterly extraordinary ever since. So this seems like a sad book, but actually it ends up being it's a really positive book. And I'm writing the third one in the Saturn Returns series now, this year. It just happens to be, so I'm 41 now, and on New Year's Eve I turned 42. So this is the turnover where I write the third book, and it's called The Meaning of Life, because everyone knows that the meaning of life is 42. So I'm writing that in real time as we're going through this. So it's extraordinary. Like, it just happens that these things happen on my 7-year chapter changes. So it's an interesting time to be writing that book. So watch this space. The Meaning of Life will be coming out end of next year or the year after that. Here is a quote from my first book, The Girl Who Ruled the World. My body's not a temple, it's a skip. So that kind of gives you a rough idea of what that book's like.